So this is the smallest camera in the world, and it is ridiculously small. At just 2 inches wide, this thing is smaller than a chicken nugget, and at just 19 grams, it's lighter than a teaspoon of sugar. But look, don't let its size fool you, because this thing is a fully functional camera. It shoots in 1080 HD video, takes still images, and claims to deliver that authentic 90s camcorder look. But the real question is, can something this tiny actually replicate that nostalgic VHS look? Well, that is exactly what we're going to be finding out in this video. But before we do that, let me just quickly rewind and tell you how I've ended up with this tiny camera. So a couple of weeks ago, I'm scrolling on my phone, wasting my life away when I definitely should have been doing something much more productive, when this ad popped up on my phone for this tiny camera called the Retro Snap. Now, I'm not normally one to get hooked in by something like this, but this camera definitely caught my eye. I was intrigued by its minute size and its ability to shoot retro style footage, and it was only 40 quid. So curiosity got the better of me and I instinctively bought it. Now, this video is not sponsored by whoever the hell makes this thing. I have zero affiliation with them, and I bought this with my own money. Now, it took about a week to arrive, no idea where this thing came from, and there are a few things that I want to find out about this tiny camera. Number one, is this camera any good, and is it worth 40 quid? And number two, does it truly replicate that nostalgic retro camcorder feel? Because if it does, this could be a surprisingly good little investment. A tiny camera that fits on a keychain, ready to shoot VHS style footage anytime, anywhere, perfect for travel or capturing memories. Or is this just a very clever marketing gimmick, when in actual fact, this is just a terribly poor quality camera that they've packaged to give you that retro feel? I will be doing some comparisons with some actual retro footage later in this video. So today's challenge is to go out and shoot with this tiny camera and capture enough footage to create a short sequence that I'll show you at the end of this video. A big thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. This is where I'll be going to get the nostalgic music to help edit the final sequence. Okay, so like any piece of equipment, it's important to set realistic expectations when it comes to capabilities. This camera was never meant to shoot high definition, smooth cinematic footage. I mean, sure, I could add some stabilization, I could upscale the footage to 4K, I could tweak the colors to make it look more professional, but that is not the point of this video. I want to embrace this camera for what it is. I want that handheld, shaky look. I want that retro feel. For me, a camera like this is perfect for capturing travel adventures or family memories. And since I don't have any travel plans, I decided to take my dog Ted and my 2 daughters to the beach to put this camera to the test. Now, the reason I've come to the beach is that I wanted to shoot using this camera somewhere relatively neutral, where it'd be hard to pinpoint a date. If I were to have shot this in the city, for example, and a cyber truck drove by, we would have instantly have known that this footage was shot after 2023, whereas I hope by shooting at the beach in a more neutral environment, this will make it much harder to pinpoint when this video was shot, really helping emphasize that nostalgic feel. I didn't want to go as far as dressing my kids up in period clothing, but this location definitely helps. Now, ordinarily, I'd be doing whatever I could to get the smoothest shots possible, getting creative with angles, using elements in the foreground to reveal my subject. But today, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just keeping things really simple. Maybe a couple of shots low to the ground, but generally just capturing moments as they happen. Now, let's be honest, the footage from this camera looks bloody terrible. At least that's what I would normally say. But remember, I'm not after smooth, high-resolution video for client work. I'm actually after low-resolution, shaky footage that you would typically get from a 90s camcorder. And so far, this camera is delivering, but how well is it replicating that authentic retro look? Well, let's find out. Here is some actual footage of me from 1992, shot by my dad on the family camcorder. Here I am in the north of Spain, age 9, eating a baguette. Now, here's some footage of my daughter, also 9, shot with this tiny camera in 2025. How similar do these shots look in terms of image quality and feel? I'm going to let you be the judge of this. Do let me know in the comments section below, but I feel like we're getting close. Let's shoot some more footage. Now, I've got to say, I'm not used to shooting this way. Usually I'm switching out lenses, I'm adjusting focus, exposure, white balance, frame rates. But with this camera, there is none of that. It's about as easy as it gets when it comes to shooting. Now, one thing I wanted to test out with this camera is image stabilization, which is basically non-existent. Here is a shot of me pushing forward, trying to keep it as smooth as possible. But as you can see, you get a lot of shake, which is to be expected. I also wanted to see how well it would auto-expose, so I panned from the beach up to the sun, which it did not handle well, completely overexposed, but again, that was to be expected. Also, the screen on the camera is square, but the video it shoots is in 16:9. I'm not sure why, it just is. So you've got to take what you see on the screen with a pinch of salt, because it's not actually what you're recording. Now, in hindsight, I didn't pick the best day to shoot with this camera. It was an unusually sunny day for the middle of winter here in the UK, which meant some shots were very overexposed. In an ideal world, I would have shot this on a more overcast day to soften the light, but this is retro footage, remember. Great image quality is not what we're going for here. The professional videographer in me, though, just always defaults at trying to get the best image possible. I had to keep reminding myself that that's not the point of this video. Now, I didn't want to spend too long at the beach because it was very windy and cold, but I did want to make sure that I had enough shots for the final sequence. So we built some sandcastles, we played with bubbles, threw the ball for Ted, and searched for some treasure in the sand. I wanted to make sure that I had a good variety of shots to create the final edit. Also, I knew that this footage just would not work without the right music. Without the right music, this is just terribly poor quality footage. But if we lean into that 80s and 90s feel, we can really help sell the idea that this was shot on a camcorder 30 years ago. Now, there were a few tracks that I had in mind for this edit, but the problem is they're all copyrighted. So to still get that retro feel that I was looking for without the copyright strike, I went over to Epidemic Sound to look for music. Now, the beauty of Epidemic Sound is that I can take a well-known track that I like from Spotify and paste the link into the search bar like this, and it will give me a list of tracks that are similar to what I'm looking for, and this is extremely helpful. So right here, I now have a list of tracks that all fit that 80s and 90s feel that I'm going for. Let's try this one, for example. Okay, great. This instantly adds to the look and the feel that I'm going for. Now, the beauty of Epidemic Sound is that you can download as many tracks as you like. So I'm just going to download a few more to see which ones work best. If you're after something other than retro music, by the way, then Epidemic Sound has pretty much everything you could need, from electronic to rock or cinematic music. You can search by mood or theme. Plus, they have a huge sound effects archive, which comes in really useful to help bring your videos to life. Easily one of the best places to get music for your videos. If you haven't given them a try yet, you definitely should. They are currently offering a free 30-day trial plus 2 months with 50% off to anyone that uses the link in my description. But this is for a very limited time only. I will put the link and more information in the description below. Now, I had no idea how long the battery was going to last in this camera, so I did buy an additional battery which said it would give me another 180 minutes worth of battery, because the last thing I wanted to do was get to the beach, start shooting, and after 10 minutes have this thing die on me, which I'm glad I did, because after 45 minutes the battery did die. So I switched to the other one for about 10 minutes, but then the kids got cold and wanted to go home. So I didn't capture quite as much footage as what I would have liked, but definitely enough to put a short sequence together. So using nothing but footage from this tiny camera and a retro track from Epidemic Sound, let's take a look at the results. What did you think of that sequence? If you hadn't have seen all the behind the scenes, do you think you would have assumed that that was just shot on a 90s camcorder? Or could you tell that it was shot on a tiny camera that cost 40 quid in 2025? Do let me know in the comments section below. I will put a link to this tiny camera as well as a free trial to Epidemic Sound in the description below. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.